As graduation approached and I was job hunting, I stumbled upon a reality show recruiting ordinary people and ended up going without much thought on the show. The guests started talking about childhood playmates. I said, when I was a kid, I usually only liked playing with boys. Netizens, here we go, the tomboy tea. But my next sentence was, when I was a kid, I loved blowing up cow dung. None of the girls wanted to blow up shit with me. They thought I was gross. Looking back, it really was a bit disgusting. I deserved to be isolated. Netizen, no, sis, you're just. As graduation approached, I started job hunting. I majored in media and had sent out countless applications to various companies, but for fresh graduates, job hunting is full of pitfalls. This cursed major offers nothing but monthly salaries of $3,000, unpaid overtime, and alternating 6-day workweeks. It's rare to come across a high-paying job, but the HR message asking, are you willing to dress according to the boss's preferences every day, along with the example photos sent below immediately killed my enthusiasm. I thought they were impressed by my talent, but it turns out they were just acknowledging my appearance after applying to too many jobs. Sometimes when HR called, I couldn't even remember which position I had applied for during one of those calls. It took me a while to realize I had applied for a talent agent position. I went to the interview smoothly. During the interview, 2 HR managers stared at me for a long time, even asking about my marital status and whether I had any cosmetic surgery history. After that, one of the HR managers sincerely said, there's currently a position that's more suitable for you, Miss Song, would you be interested? He said that after the probation period, the base salary would be 10,000 yuan, with social security and housing fund contributions. And normally, weekends would be off. I was truly young and naive. It was only later that I realized the so-called position he mentioned was that of an entertainer, but the contract didn't seem like some shady, long-term deal. It looked fine on the surface, and just like that, I was thrown into a dating show as a civilian guest. HR kept promising that if the show didn't work out, they'd still move me behind the scenes. I never imagined that behind the scenes of an entertainment company's star-making process, it could be so slapdash. Is this company even legitimate? But since I'm already here on the day of the shoot, the makeup artist kept muttering while doing my makeup, your company really is something, pulling a last-minute switch right before recording. I'm a bit of a social butterfly, able to strike up a conversation with anyone. Sis, I'm new here. Do you know why our company changed the person? Oh, they said the originally scheduled female guest had a high education persona, but she suddenly received a PhD offer. She'd rather break the contract to attend her advisors group meetings than debut. The makeup artist's sister mentioned that she was a top 2 university undergraduate and master's graduate, and with the PhD, her academic credentials would be complete. That's indeed a very high level of education. As a graduate from a bottom-tier 985 university, I have nothing much to say, but Xiaosong, don't lose heart, you're pretty. So after the shoot, try to get close to a few of the male and female guests. As long as one couple becomes popular, you'll be set. If that doesn't work out, finding a partner to take home isn't a bad idea either. I've checked them out. These boys are all pretty good. Sis, you as expected of a seasoned makeup artist from the film crew. So, following the production team's arrangement, I made my entrance as the second to last female guest after the recording began. As I walked in, my gaze swept around the room, making eye contact with everyone before gracefully taking a seat next to the cool, long-haired woman in a suit. You know, dear heavens, I just can't resist a woman in a suit with that androgynous beauty. I am wearing a white dress. In a dating show, there can't be just one type of persona. We create whatever the audience loves to see, regardless of gender. I am the persona of a youthful, innocent girl who has yet to step out of the school gates. The last to appear was a sexy beauty in a red strapless mini dress, her long legs captivating not only the attention of all the male guests but also stealing the hearts of the female guests. Lust is human nature. It's not like there's any shortage of male or female beauty. This dating show's slogan, as promoted by the production team, is authenticity. So not only are there celebrity guests observing in real time from the viewing room, but there are also many netizens eagerly watching the live stream. Everyone's here. So let's start with some self-introductions. A man spoke up first. He looked a bit older, with more defined features and a very distinguished air among the 4 men and 4 women. Only he wore a Rolex on his wrist, a genuine piece, and a model that money alone might not be able to buy. I'll go first. My name is Zhao Qi. I'm 28 years old. I started a new media company a couple of years ago. and now I'm barely considered a small boss. Wow, that really is the domineering CEO persona. Wow, a real-life domineering CEO. I always said there must be young, handsome, and wealthy domineering CEOs in real life. This guy's watch alone isn't something a small-time boss could afford. Damn it, who stole my rich second-generation life? Next to him was another young man, dressed in trendy streetwear, handsome in a refined way. Hello everyone, my name is Lin Jingxiu. I'm 25 years old. I completed my undergraduate and master's degrees overseas, graduating from Columbia University last year with a degree in finance. I currently work at my family's company, but I personally have a strong interest in music, so I'm also a musician in my spare time. There's also a returnee. The next two male guests, one is a lawyer named Suzian, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, a silver ring on his index finger, dressed in gray trousers and a white shirt. His overall demeanor leans toward the scholarly, even carrying a subtle sense of being a family man. The last one is a minor actor, the kind that anyone can tell is just here to get screen time on a variety show. His name is Su Yuanheng, very young, only 20, and still in college. You can even see a few of his fans screaming in the bullet comments. After the male guest introduced himself, it was the female guest's turn, starting with the cool, powerful woman in the suit. My name is Shuang Ling, I'm 27 years old, and I'm one of the investors in this variety show. My family suspects there's something wrong with me for not dating at this age. When they heard this was a dating show, they insisted on arranging for me to join, saying there are both men and women here, so I should figure it out myself. Huh, the barrage went wild, sis. What do you mean by that? No gender restrictions. When did domestic variety shows become so bold? Mom-level comment. One sentence left behind a woman as fierce as a female eagle. What the hell is this dating show? Ha 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 ha. With Sister Zhuang's one sentence, even if this show turns into crap, I'll keep watching it. The production team sent over a rather pathetic message. Please note your words and actions, guests. Do not say anything that goes against the core values of the show. This is live. Not only did the live comments burst into laughter, but the group of young men and women, including the guests in the observation room, couldn't help but laugh either. The beauty in the red strapless dress swept her long hair back and chuckled lightly. Hello everyone, I'm Jiang Xiuan, 24 years old, and my profession is modeling. That figure is really hot. Another female guest, with her hair tied in a high ponytail, introduced herself as a programmer. She doesn't quite fit the public stereotype of this profession. Hello everyone, my name is Su Chu Tong. She smiled, her eyes curving gently, appearing both tender and serene, with no hint of aggression. Finally, it was my turn. Hello everyone, I'm Song Zi, 22 years old, and I haven't graduated from university yet. In a dating show, someone like me without a career obviously doesn't have the traits to attract attention. But someone raised a question. The lawyer, Suzian, asked, Z, how did you come to participate in this program? I guess he might have wanted to ask about the channel. Then, looking past the camera, I caught the expectant gaze of the show staff, probably hoping I'd showcase the fine quality of a college student who knows how to talk to people like a person and to ghosts like a ghost. After a moment of silence, I hesitantly said, do you believe it? I got here by looking for an internship. The director looked as if his heart had died a little. Looking for an internship and ending up on a dating show, is that right? Believe her or believe that I'm Qin Shi Huang. Which agency is trying to push this artist? This is even less convincing than Zhuang Ling being forced into a dating show by her family. The excuse is just too fake. Of course, I had no idea how netizens were judging me, but the company didn't give me a script when they pushed me in here. For one, I'm neither a top 2 university student nor an overseas returnee. No academic credentials to market, and two, I don't even have a proper job. All I have left is one thing, being genuine with people. Anyway, the HR who recruited me said that even if I don't perform well, it'll just mean less screen time in the final edit. Getting criticized a bit on a show is perfectly normal. Besides, I'm getting paid for it. The salary for appearing on the variety show with 8 people from different life experiences and personalities gathered together. There's no shortage of conversation topics. Most of them are quite talkative, especially when it comes to their own areas of expertise. It's almost like a job interview. Somehow, the conversation turned to childhood playmates. The youngest among them, Su Yuanheng, said with great enthusiasm, when I was little, I lived at my grandparents' house, the kids in the yard and I spent all day climbing trees and swimming in the river. We got scolded a lot. Su Chutong shared gently that she had a childhood friend, A very cheerful and warm-hearted girl. When it was my turn, I thought for a moment and, as always, told the truth. When I was a kid, I usually only liked playing with boys. The girls didn't like me. The others looked at me, clearly taken aback for a moment, waiting for what would come next. At that moment, the barrage lit up. Here it is, the bro T, that character type, popular with men but ostracized by women, really does exist. But my next sentence was, when I was a kid living in the village, I loved blowing up cow dung. The girls never wanted to join me in blowing up shit. They looked down on me. Looking back, it was pretty gross, so I guess I deserved to be isolated. The guests fell silent. Netizens, wait, sis, you, what kind of girl plays with exploding cow dung as a kid? Are you saying the sweet, soft little cake who looks like the campus white moonlight used to play with poop in the village with a bunch of stinky boys when she was little? After a moment of silence, Su Yuanhing very sincerely asked a question. Didn't you get beaten up? This forced me to recall the past. No, there used to be a really annoying older brother living next door. He seemed to have OCD. Every time he saw me from afar, he'd stare until I washed my hands and feet before letting me go home. Annoying older brother, Zhuang Ling beside me repeated. I rested my chin in my hand. I found him quite annoying as a kid. He was even stricter than my parents, but looking back now that I'm older, I realize it couldn't have been easy for him to deal with a bunch of grubby kids every day. People can't even empathize with their own childhood selves. Back then, my brother just had a stern face that looked a bit fierce, but he would wipe the faces of the kids who went wild playing, and he'd play with the other children too. He was just really resistant to the cow dung explosion game. I was young back then and still felt sorry for him, unable to grasp the joy of exploding cow dung. I sighed. Later, he seemed to move to the city. Every day, I'd run home covered in filth, and my mom let out a sharp, piercing scream. In the end, I still got a beating. The other guests couldn't help but laugh. It seemed like none of them had much experience with rural life, except for Su Yuanhing, who had once visited remote mountain villages for filming. So, do you still keep in touch with that brother now? Jiang Xiuan asked with a beaming smile. The smile of a sexy beauty was truly irresistible. The moment she smiled at me, I felt as if I had been struck by an electric shock. Hee. Nothing much. I also went to the city to study later. The impression of that germophobic guy only remains as a vague nickname. This dating show has a filming period of about half a month. During this period, the 8 of them would need to live together in the same villa area. After touring the rooms, it was time to choose their accommodations. The resident big brother among them, Lin Jingxiu, chimed in enthusiastically. Want to make things a bit more exciting? How do we do that? Su Yuanheng chimed in. Even the usually composed Zhao Qi raised an eyebrow slightly. Let's number all the rooms and draw lots. Leave it to fate. Fate, a good way to put it. Originally, the step of assigning rooms was left to us by the production team to discuss among ourselves. The rooms upstairs and downstairs each had their own unique features. Some were large, some were small, and some even came with a small balcony or a walk-in closet. Sounds good. Jiang Xiuan was the first to respond. Drawing lots will save anyone from feeling disappointed. Since no one else had any objections, I naturally didn't either. Not only do I not have to worry about the work content for this internship, but the pay is also decent, and it even includes meals and accommodation. Perfect. After marking the rooms by floor, Su Chutong somehow found paper and pens, and just like that, 8 slips for the draw were prepared. Let's start the draw then. In order, Yuanhing is the youngest, so he'll go first, and we'll proceed clockwise. Su Yuanhing drew the first slip, followed by Su Chutong next to him. When it was my turn, there were 3 slips left. I randomly grabbed one, and once everyone had a slip in hand, I opened mine. Number 5. It's one of the guest bedrooms on the 2nd floor. Zhao Qi drew the master bedroom on the 2nd floor, which comes with an in-sub bathroom, a small balcony, and a walk-in closet. Also on the same floor is Su Chutong. A gentle and soft-spoken programmer, Zhao Qi, ever the gentleman, offered to swap rooms with one of us. Ladies, Su Chutong and I shook our heads in perfect sync, like a pair of rattle drums. We agreed earlier that we'd stick with whatever room we drew. Rules are rules. Jiang Xiuan drew the master bedroom on the 3rd floor, while Su Yuanheng and Su Zian got the other 2 rooms. The remaining 2 are Zhuang Ling and Lin Jingxiu on the 1st floor. Lin Jingxiu seemed quite satisfied with the draw result, smiling at Zhuang Ling as he said, "Looks like we'll be pretty close to each other for a while." Zhuang Ling clearly fit the image of a wealthy young lady. Her appearance, manner of speaking, and family background combined likely made her the most outstanding among the female guests present. With the rooms chosen, everyone had some time to unpack their luggage. Just as I was about to lift my own suitcase, I heard Lin Jingxiu beside me offer to help Jiang Xiuan with her luggage. She had 2 suitcases. Ziyi, let me help you. Zhuang Ling's voice suddenly rang out. Before I could react, I saw her effortlessly pick up my 24-inch suitcase and start walking up with it. Zhuang Ling had long since taken off her suit jacket, with the sleeves of her shirt rolled up to her elbows. As she lifted the suitcase, the muscle lines on her arm were clearly visible. No way, he's this handsome. Is this for real? Zhao Qi carried Su Chutong's suitcase upstairs, not even bothering with his own luggage. Not long after filming started, the initial direction of the CP seemed to be taking shape. I don't really have much luggage, just clothes, cosmetics, and some daily necessities. And just as we were packing up, the live stream cut to the observation room. There were 4 celebrity guests, who were currently placing enthusiastic bets on a certain couple. This Song Ziyi is quite interesting. The girl has some unique hobbies. I feel like she and Su Yuanhing have a certain chemistry. They're around the same age, so they should have common topics to talk about. I actually think she and Zhao Qi have a weirdly perfect match vibe. Zhao Qi and Zhuang Ling are the ones who are truly evenly matched. Okay, Zhuang Ling and Su Yuanhing totally give off that vibe of a younger puppy and a mature older sister. Jiang Xiuan and Su Ziyan, the 3 of them were deep in a heated discussion when one of them suddenly called out, "Sure you, what do you think?" Before the person being asked could respond, the one who had spoken added with a laugh, "That older brother the girl mentioned earlier, the one who supervises the neighbor's kids' hygiene, sounds a lot like you, a bit of a neat freak with a touch of OCD." The man sitting beside him leaned back naturally, looking quite young with a strikingly handsome face, occasionally twirling a pen in his hand. "I'm just a bit particular about cleanliness, not exactly obsessive-compulsive," he said lightly, his voice clear and gentle. All right, if you say so. So, which couple do you think looks promising? Can't tell yet, no wonder you're single." After packing up and coming out, I stepped outside to see that almost everyone had finished packing and gathered downstairs. Dinner was arranged by the program team, serving as an ice-breaking opportunity at the table. We could get to know each other's food preferences and dislikes. I was genuinely hungry, my eyes fixed intently on the dishes on the table, but I probably wasn't the only one feeling hungry. Beside me, Su Yuanhing was chowing down with gusto, enthusiastically recommending dishes to others. "This braised chicken is really fragrant, everyone should try it, and this boiled fish with chili oil is so appetizing, those who can handle spicy food should have more. The rice is pretty good too. Looks like the kid usually has a rough time with meals. As everyone knows, when someone at the table eats with gusto, others can't help but feel their own appetite grow, especially since Su Yuanhing wasn't the only one eating with such relish while I buried my head in my food. My heart was weeping inside. This meal was truly brimming with tension. Suddenly, a piece of meat was placed in my bowl. I looked up in confusion and met Su Chutong's slightly affectionate gaze as she said, "Take your time." Looking up, I realized the other 6 people were all staring at me and Su Yuanhing at the same time. Su Yuanhing also raised his head and explained somewhat sheepishly, "The company usually doesn't allow us to eat like this. We have to maintain our figures. He's just a 20-year-old young man. Me, the cafeteria at our school, doesn't really suit my taste. If it weren't for the camera in front of me right now, I would have to sincerely say, not just not to my taste, it's downright awful. The kind of awful that makes you feel sorry for the ingredients. They died in vain. The cafeteria that countless students are unwilling to look back on after graduation. Unfortunately, the school is far from the city center, and there aren't many delivery options available." After I finished speaking with Su Yuanhing, we exchanged a glance, 2 souls adrift in the same vast world, both on the verge of tears. It hurts so much at this moment. The bullet comments, "This isn't quite the dating show I imagined. What kind of lives have these 2 been living? They're eating with tears in their eyes. Is the food that delicious? Or have they really been suffering all along? Maybe the production team should consider switching to a food variety show on the fly." Watching the 2 of them eat is quite appetizing. That Song Ziyi is my schoolmate, I can vouch for it. Our school cafeteria really is terrible. I wasn't just focused on eating the whole time. As I ate, I gradually joined in the casual conversation. Su Chutong mentioned that during holidays, she enjoys cooking a whole table of dishes herself and inviting friends over to share the meal. As soon as these words were spoken, Both Su Yuanheng and I lit up with excitement. Really, can we become good friends? Can I too? Su Chutong was speechless. After dinner, there was a solo interview session, likely to ask the guests about their first impressions of the others. This segment was not part of the live broadcast. The director said, "Please briefly evaluate the other 7 guests. When evaluating people you've just met on the first day, anyone with normal emotional intelligence wouldn't speak carelessly." I rambled on, and in the end, I couldn't even remember what I had said. If you could choose one guest as a date, who would you pick? That's an interesting question. I'd pick Sister Zhu Angling. Director, you can't choose. He hadn't even finished speaking before I switched to another name, Jiang Xiuan. The director said expressionlessly, "You can't choose someone of the same gender. You could have said that earlier." Due to my lack of experience in this line of work, I had even momentarily forgotten the nature of this dating show. I had been reading too many different types of literary works online and only remembered it was a dating show, forgetting that it was specifically a heterosexual dating show. My preferences are quite easygoing, but I chose a female guest because I enjoy hanging out with girls. When I was young, I didn't know any better, but now that I'm older, I've grown wiser. Then let's go with Su Yuanheng. People who can enjoy food together probably have at least a few things in common to talk about. Please state your reason. He's very handsome, has a great personality, and even though he's the youngest, he instinctively looks out for others. But Su Yuanheng is an actor. His career might require him to be on set for months at a time. If you were to date in the future, there's a risk of a long-distance relationship. Would you be willing to accept that? I rested my chin on my hand. Director, you asked who I'd like to go on a date with, not who I'd want as a boyfriend. There's a fundamental difference, however. The director probably didn't expect me to make such a scumbag statement, and his expression visibly froze. After me, the director also had one-on-one talks with others. By the time he finished, he looked noticeably more weathered. I wonder what he went through. After the individual interviews, there was another segment, going to the wardrobe prepared by the production team to pick out an outfit for the date. The villa next door was also rented by the production team, and the outfits to be matched are inside. At first, I thought the production team was trying to create a sense of mystery, but as I passed by, I overheard a staff member mention that the neighboring villa was originally rented by a film crew for shooting, but the lead actor's schedule had issues, forcing them to postpone to minimize losses. The other crew rented it out to our director at a discount. Not taking advantage of a bargain is just plain foolish. The villa's decor was noticeably much more luxurious, rumored to be for filming scenes of wealthy family infighting. I walked forward and saw a man dressed entirely in black emerging from the villa. It was no wonder that among so many people, my gaze instantly locked onto him. With long arms and legs, such proportions were not something an ordinary person could possess. As the distance closed, I recognized the other person with ease. Pei Shiyue, a top-tier actor in his youth, already holding several hit dramas, with a face of flawless perfection, his features as if meticulously carved by the gods. I don't know when he debuted, but by the time he entered my field of vision, he was already immensely popular. Anyone who's even a little active online would definitely know who this person is. He's one of the commentators on this dating show. I looked into it before coming, so the commentator is right next door. "Good evening, Teacher Pei." Running into him head-on, it wouldn't be good not to say hello. After all, there's a certain probability I'll be working in the entertainment industry in the future, so greeting a senior is more than reasonable. I originally thought Pei Shiyue would just nod or politely respond before continuing on his way, but he stopped. His scrutinizing gaze fell upon my face. The sensation of being watched was unmistakable, making me wonder if there was something on my face. Although the cameraman was following, it wasn't live broadcast time. "Song Zi, is that you?" I heard him speak, his voice sounding even more pleasant than what I usually heard online. "Yes, nice to meet you," he said before walking over. Perhaps it was just my imagination, but I felt like the corners of his mouth were slightly upturned at that moment. Even the look in his eyes at that moment held a subtle hint of affection. I put together a men's outfit in the dressing room according to my own aesthetic. In the other fitting room, I imagine the men are taking turns putting together women's outfits. I can understand the intention behind this activity. Through clothing choices, you can actually get a sense of a person's preferences. After finishing today's shoot, it'll be personal time. There was everything from removing makeup and washing up to chatting a few words, but when it came down to it, everyone had just met, and it was hard to get close on the first day. This period could be described as a closed-door blind date. to prevent online public opinion from influencing the guests' choices and judgments. Electronic devices were required to be confiscated during the first week. Even my computer was taken away. Fortunately, I have the habit of being able to sleep anywhere, so I fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. The next day, the alarm went off, and I yawned as I got up. Only then did I remember that I wasn't at home or at school. After a quick wash, I noticed Su Zian and Su Chutong busy in the kitchen downstairs. One's a lawyer, the other a programmer. Looks like they have quite a bit in common. Dating shows are meant for the audience, and the guests' looks are certainly not lacking. I'm not being narcissistic. My beauty is quite objective. My parents often marvel at their own good genes, proud they didn't hold back their descendants. The pair in the kitchen looked quite pleasing to the eye, and I couldn't help but pause on the stairs to watch for a while. Suddenly, a man's voice sounded from behind. Isn't it just so addictive? The unexpected voice startled me. Behind me was Su Yuanheng, winking and making faces. Why do you walk so silently? You scared me to death. The commotion here also disturbed the kitchen area, breaking the atmosphere. Su Yuanheng chuckled cheerfully. Don't be angry, Sister Z. I didn't mean it. I didn't know you were reading so intently. Great, a naturally familiar personality, already calling me sister today. Su Yuanheng and I went downstairs and heard Su Chutong say, Zian and I woke up early, so we used the ingredients in the kitchen fridge to make breakfast for everyone. It's almost ready. Within minutes, people from upstairs and downstairs also appeared. Everyone was dressed casually, still in their pajamas from the night before. During breakfast, everyone was socially savvy enough to praise the two diligent cooks. Su Chutong, clearly a bit more reserved, said, I just saw some frozen food in the fridge, so I steamed it and cooked a few other ingredients. Since Chutong and Zian made breakfast, we'll take care of the cleanup later, Zhao Qi said. Upon hearing this, Su Yuanheng immediately chimed in. Yiji and I can handle the cleanup after we eat. He then turned to look at me and asked, is that okay? I nodded blankly. The way others looked at us also became subtly different. Honestly, even I found it a bit strange. After breakfast, while tidying up in the kitchen, the conversation remained normal. The production team announced that the outfits chosen last night had been delivered. Through a draw, guests who picked matching colored balls would wear the clothes selected by their partner for a day-long date. In other words, it was a blind date. The people beside me went to draw lots one by one. I drew a blue ball, and when I turned around, I saw Su Yuanheng holding a blue ball as well. What a coincidence. Su Yuanheng looked quite pleased. The other pairings were Zhuang Ling and Zhao Qi, Jiang Xiuan and Lin Jingxiu, Su Chutong and Su Zian. Thus, the dating combinations were set. Next came the wardrobe change. To ensure everyone could showcase their outfits, the production team made this process quite theatrical. Each person who entered the changing room and came out was met with a chorus of wow. The disastrous combination that was anticipated did not appear when Zhuang Ling emerged. She was wearing a pale green cheongsam, a style completely different from the day before, yet, on her, it inexplicably carried an air of cold pride. For her date, she had paired a pair of brown suit pants with a white shirt, giving off a somewhat British vibe. Zhao Qi was clearly a man who took care of his physique, and this outfit didn't look out of place on him at all. Next up are Jiang Xiuan and Lin Jingxiu, the dating duo. Jiang Xiuan's outfit looks like it was specially tailored for her, a black and red rose print strapless maxi dress paired with red-soled high heels, truly stunning. She seems to favor a cool style, while Lin Jingxiu is wearing dark-washed jeans with a bright-colored top, the jeans adorned with silver chains. Su Chutong, on the other hand, is dressed in pants, clearly going for a comfortable vibe. Su Zian is sporting light khaki loose-fitting trousers with a white t-shirt, topped with a short-sleeved dark blue shirt and a black pendant hanging from his neck. When I entered the changing room, I noticed that Su Yuanheng had put together a sporty outfit for me, casual and practical, with no hint of romance at all. As expected, I was met with a wave of laughter as soon as I stepped out. Su Yuanheng was still stubbornly insisting beside me, isn't it nice? I think it looks great. Bullet comments. If my boyfriend ever put together an outfit like this for a date, I'd take care of him first. Is Su Yuanheng a bit too much of a straight guy? How did he manage to pick out such an ugly tracksuit from all those clothes? What a dreadful sense of style. I can actually understand this kind of contrast on variety shows. Su Yuanheng might not be unaware of what kind of pairing would look good, it has to be said. The segment where the director group had us match each other's outfits was a bit subtle. Once the outfits were on, that ambiguous feeling began to flow invisibly in the air. Different pairings had different date arrangements, Mine with Su Yuanheng was to go to an amusement park, a day trip to the amusement park, hehe. When we stood at the entrance of the amusement park, Su Yuanheng and I exchanged a glance. He asked, "Are you afraid of heights?" I shook my head. Then we both turned to look at the cameraman and asked with equal sincerity, "Are you afraid of heights, sir?" Following the camera with confusion. So, we went through them all: roller coasters, giant swings, drop towers, spinning swings, and log flumes. And when the feeling of weightlessness hit us in the air, it felt amazing. Just as we were about to board the roller coaster, taking advantage of the camera crew not having caught up yet, Su Yuanheng quickly turned off the microphones on both of us and whispered conspiratorially, "Sister Zi, I know you're also here on this show to get some screen time for the company. How about we play along and stir up some CP buzz during this period? It's a win-win, right? So that's why this kid was being so attentive today. Alright then, even though it's an internship, I still need to cooperate with the work." After going through these projects, Su Yuanheng and I were radiant, but the filming teacher looked visibly worn out. Su Yuanheng and I were still having so much fun that we didn't want to stop. When we got back, we found that they had all returned. The atmosphere was a bit delicate, or perhaps it could be said that a faint sense of ambiguity lingered in the air. Dinner was a barbecue in the courtyard, chatting and laughing around the charcoal fire. Though I've never been much of a cook, my barbecue skills are something everyone who's tried them raves about. This was my moment to shine. Su Yuanheng, sitting beside me, gnawed on a meat skewer while still managing to give me a thumbs up, mumbling something unintelligible through his mouthful. Everyone tacitly sat with their date for the day, sharing amusing stories from their outings. I kept my head down, saying nothing, focusing solely on grilling. I wouldn't allow any of them to leave without trying the skewers I had grilled. "Zi, who taught you how to grill skewers? This dipping sauce is delicious too." Jiang Xiuan beside me leaned over to ask. Her beauty seemed to strike me for a moment. Feeling a bit embarrassed, I lowered my head and smiled. "I learned it from my grandparents." On the other side, Su Yuanheng let out a wow and began to complain. "Song Zi, are you feeling shy? We spent the whole day hanging out together and I didn't see you shy at all. But now that someone compliments you, you get shy. Didn't I praise you today?" In just one day, our revolutionary friendship had already been established. I smiled and elbowed him lightly. "What are you talking about? Don't say nonsense." Su Yuanheng was about to say something else, but I stuffed another skewer into his mouth. The kid finally quieted down. The details of other people's dates always sound so interesting. Su Yuanheng nudged me. "Sis, why does their dating vibe seem so different from ours?" "How would I know? I don't have any experience either." The third day was all about group activities, with the 8 of us dividing tasks to purchase ingredients and cook according to the show's budget. This split us into the outdoor group and the home group. I was in the outdoor group, following along to buy quite a few things. Su Chutong, Zhao Qi, Su Zian, and Jiang Xiuan were responsible for the kitchen work afterward. Of course, while we were out, they were free to move around the villa, and there was some interaction between them. When the meal was served, Su Chutong was the main chef, but the other 3 each contributed a dish. "How is it? Does it suit your taste?" Su Chutong looked at the others expectantly. Once again, I sincerely said, "Sister Chutong, we are definitely going to become good friends." Su Yuanheng, count me in. "It's absolutely delicious." Everyone else was also full of praise. Lin Jingxiu said cheerfully, "Chutong, with skills like yours, whether you're a programmer or running a restaurant as a boss, you'd probably do great." As is well known, when someone is cooking, the greatest compliment is when everyone else is thoroughly enjoying the meal. I don't know if I was eating too engrossed, but I always felt that Su Chutong's gaze carried that faint sense of affection again. It somewhat resembled the look my grandma had when she used to feed her granddaughter like a pig when I was little. In the evening, following the program team's arrangements, everyone sat together to play games, truth or dare and alcohol, essential for creating an ambiguous atmosphere. The dim yellow lights paired with the night, the young men and women, and the swirling ambiguities. In a daze, I felt that the flow of emotions was so real it was almost overwhelming. At the very least, I was genuinely invested in it. No wonder when I used to watch dating shows, the netizens were so passionately invested in this kind of atmosphere. Even I almost forgot that I've only known these people for a few days, or perhaps it's precisely because we haven't known each other for long that this ambiguity can tug at the heartstrings so unexpectedly. Since we're all under the same roof, I don't have the omniscient perspective of a livestream viewer when others are alone, so, which couple the netizens are mainly shipping, I really have no idea. The 4th day also featured one-on-one dates, but this time it was mutual. Selection: male and female guests selected each other, and those who matched successfully went on dates, while the rest were grouped together. It's only reasonable for a matchmaking event. Su Yuanheng and I formed an alliance, so naturally, we chose each other, but we just couldn't get into that ambiguous, romantic atmosphere while others were dating. We were placing bets. I think brother Xian and sister Chu Tong are a perfect match, Su Yuanheng said. I disagreed, brother Zhao Qi and sister Chu Tong. Now that's what I call a couple with chemistry. How could that be? Zhao Qi and Chu Tong come from such different backgrounds and have such different life experiences. You might as well ship Zhao Qi and Shuang Ling. They're evenly matched and from similar social standings. Mind your own business. We romance novel enthusiasts love to ship the impossible possibilities. The fifth day was also a solo date, but this time it wasn't a mutual selection. I drew Su Xian as my partner throughout the entire day's date. Su Xian earnestly gave me a crash course on labor laws, what to watch out for when job hunting as graduation approaches, and especially the potential pitfalls I might encounter if I sign a long-term contract with the company I'm currently with. Bullet comments: I isn't this a dating show? Why am I watching a legal education program? I don't get it, but I'm taking notes. Su Xian really acts like a warm-hearted big brother, explaining things to Little Song. He even told Little Song to send him any contracts to review in the future. I'm guilty. I'm shipping them so hard. Production team, I hate you. Yesterday I was shipping Little Sue and Little Sue, and now this pair has chemistry too. It's really strange. I was just doing career planning for college students who haven't even graduated yet, so why am I watching it with such relish? I should find some time to drink some traditional Chinese medicine. It's not a solution to be shipping everyone I see. I can even ship Xiao Song and Xiao Su. On the sixth day, I drew Zhao Qi, and this guy spent the entire time showing off his face recognition skills during the recording of the program. Using one's own money for payments is not allowed. Then, most of the places Zhao Qi took me to were shops owned by friends, family, or his own, where we could just show our faces and not pay. It felt a bit like he was treating me like a child, taking me out to play. The production team was speechless. On the seventh day, the production team was going to return my phone and laptop in the evening, so I had no mind for any dates at all, only thinking about the phone. However, today's activities, aside from the usual daily life, mainly involved gathering together or privately chatting with their crushes. But Zhao Qi, Shuang Ling, and Su Xian left the villa in the afternoon. A week of filming was too long, and all three had urgent work matters to attend to back home. The remaining people continued their lives in the villa. The filming content also became much more casual. As soon as I opened my phone, greetings from various relatives and friends popped up, all expressing shock at my appearance on the variety show. My mom said cheerfully, "Sweetie, the young men on your variety show are all quite nice. Bring some friends home to play when you have time. And do you remember the grandson of your neighbor grandpa? He also became a celebrity. We used to call him by his childhood name all the time, never even knew what his real name was. There are plenty of people in the entertainment industry, childhood friends, who knows what they look like now." Only 5 people remained in the villa. Su Yuanheng was a restless soul, full of energy. If he wasn't teaming up with others to play games, he was busy memorizing scripts all day long. Ever since communication was restored, his agent has been watching the live stream every day, calling him immediately whenever he sees him overeating. A famous quote from Su Yuanheng's agent: "You can fall in love if you want, but you can't stop being handsome." Su Yuanheng even managed to get a mahjong table. When asked, it turned out he had moved it from the villa next door. 2 days later, when the other 3 returned one after another, I was holed up in my room working on my thesis. Who understands the feeling of being in the middle of an internship and suddenly seeing a notice in the class group chat urging you to submit your thesis? It's enough to bring tears to your eyes. Ziyi, aren't you going to sleep yet? Su Chutong stood at the doorway, watching. "It's fine, I'll stay up a bit longer." I glanced back. "Sister Chutong, why aren't you asleep either?" The director said Zhao Qi and sister Zhu Angling are both rushing back late tonight, so the live streaming equipment in the living room won't be turned off. They said they're almost here, so I'll wait for them. I see. I closed my laptop. "Sister Chutong, I'll go to the living room and wait with you. The dining table on the first floor is perfect for me to write my thesis." Su Chutong originally suggested I focus on writing in my room. "I can't concentrate in my room either. My phone is just too entertaining," I admitted honestly. Around 12:30, Zhao Qixian finally returned. His driver dropped him off at the entrance, and when he walked in, he paused for a moment at the sight of us. Why are you two still up? Su Chutong replied, Ziyi is working on her graduation thesis. She came down to keep me company while we waited for you. Zhuangling should be here soon too, Zhao Qi asked. What kind of thesis? Let me take a look. To be honest, the English to Chinese and Chinese to Chinese translations I had written were a bit too rough to be presentable. But they weren't completely unreadable either. Su Chutong had just looked at it earlier. She didn't quite understand all the theories and such. Her graduation project back when she graduated was a completely different matter from what I'm doing. Zhao Qi glanced at it a couple of times, scrolled up and down a few times with the mouse, and said, the research significance and research background are pretty similar. It would be better to revise them. Adding a subtitle to the topic would be a good idea. I was taken aback for a moment. Brother Zhao Qi, you understand this. Zhao Qi hummed in agreement. Back when I was doing my PhD, I often helped undergraduates and postgraduates revise their papers. Huh bro? You have a PhD, why didn't you say so earlier? Zhao Qi wasn't in a hurry to go upstairs either, so he simply sat down beside me and casually offered suggestions for revisions and ideas for the next steps in writing. Every word he said was well organized, giving me the illusion that a teacher was conducting a one-on-one tutoring session. I practically knelt down to listen. Before long, Zhuangling also returned. Seeing the situation, she sat down on my other side. Zhao Qi, didn't you study digital media? Zhuangling, you know there are two words for media. There's some overlap in the teaching content. Besides, that was just my undergraduate major. Later, for my master's and PhD, I also studied in the field of media. You have a PhD, too, is a PhD, some kind of worthless degree. I fell silent. Two bosses with PhDs are guiding undergraduate theses right next to me, and I'm feeling a bit of pressure. But these two started arguing over a single word choice, and that familiar love-hate dynamic kicked in again. I'm totally getting my fix. I'm guilty. I'll ship anyone with anyone. A thesis isn't something that can be rushed out in a single night. After tonight, these two developed a sense of mission, occasionally asking me about my progress and even offering supplementary theories and literature. It felt like I had signed up for a variety show and ended up with two extra advisors. Late-night comments. I believe Song Zi is a university student now, writing a thesis on a dating show. That's so her, as a soon-to-be graduate also tangled up in my thesis. I'm genuinely envious. Can someone share a PhD with me? I must be crazy, staying up late just to watch someone write their undergraduate thesis. After spending this time together, we've all gotten pretty familiar with each other now that we can use our phones. I see our show is trending online every single day, with every couple having their own fan community. The HR who sent me to the variety show contacted me, telling me to do a good job of building a CP. It was only then that I found out he wasn't just an HR, he was also the company's young master, who had just taken over the company not long ago. No wonder it all seemed a bit slapdash. I asked him who I should build a CP with. He said anyone would do, but it would be best to build a CP with everyone. After speaking, reason seemed to return, and she added, just be mindful of the boundaries. For those established, highly popular couples, it's best not to get involved. It's easy to get criticized. That's when I realized that online there weren't just fans of me and Su Yuanheng as a couple, but also of me and Zhao Qi, Su Zian, Lin Jingxiu, and even Zhuangling, Su Chutong, and Jiang Xiuan. It really is pairing me with just about everyone. However, since Zhuangling and the other two returned, I've noticed some subtle changes. The ambiguous relationship between Zhao Qi and Su Chutong has reached a point where it's almost impossible to hide. Zhuangling and Jiang Xiuan sometimes whisper to each other, and I have no idea when they became so close. On the morning of the 13th day of recording, after I finished washing up, I saw Zhuangling and Jiang Xiuan walking down the stairs arm in arm. The two were chatting and laughing, occasionally exchanging glances, probably noticing my gaze. Jiang Xiuan brushed her hair aside and chuckled lightly. Sister Zhuangling accidentally spilled water on the bed last night, so she came up to share with me for the night. Even after they both went downstairs, I was still a bit stunned. Wait, is that right? But what was truly wrong was that on the last two nights, Zhuangling slept in Jiang Xiuan's room. I began to fall silent. I even occasionally started helping to cover things up in front of the cameras because the show had initially been promoted as authentic. The production team never prepared a script for us, meaning whether things worked out in the end was entirely up to fate. Somehow, there are a huge number of people online who ship Zhao Qi and Su Chutong. The atmosphere between these two is indeed quite strange. On the last day, which was the time to bare our hearts, Su Yuanheng and I expressed our feelings with deep affection, saying we would be good friends from then on. The production team was speechless. Zhao Qi and Su Chutong are still a great couple to ship. I hope we can keep in touch after the show ends, Zhao Qi said. Su Chutong also nodded shyly. It is indeed hasty to confirm a relationship in just over 10 days, and there's no fault in that. The remaining two pairs still seemed to have a much clearer sense of friendship between them, but that didn't matter. Dating shows are less about creating real couples and more about creating CPs. As long as the CPs are established, the mission is accomplished. After living together for half a month, I felt a bit reluctant to part ways when it was time to leave. I said with a touch of nostalgia, if you have time, you can come visit my place, it's really big, and the scenery is beautiful. Zhao Qi's driver came to pick him up, and incidentally took Su Chutong away as well. Before leaving, he said to me, by the way, remember to send me your thesis to review once it's done. That one sentence diluted the sorrow of parting. When you have two supervisors, it's time to balance the scales. Shuang Ling, send me a copy while you're at it. After finishing the 2-week variety show recording, my boss now treats me like a treasure. He wants to sign me, but no matter how much buzz there is online, it's not to the point where they absolutely have to sign me. I had Suzian look over the contract the boss gave me in private, and he said it was fine. I still felt something wasn't quite right, so I went and asked. My young boss spoke to me with earnest sincerity. Don't be fooled by how large this company appears. Its glory days are in the past. My father handed it over to me to see if I have what it takes to revive it, before deciding whether to entrust the family business to me. If you sign with me, we'll be partners in this venture, if you're willing to sign. Of course I'll invest resources to promote you, he said. The salary you'd earn after graduation might not even match the base pay I'm offering. Wouldn't it be great to be a star? Looking at your resume, you've been dancing since elementary school. Most of the instruments you've learned have been graded and performed, and you even hosted university anniversary events. Such remarkable talents. Just because of that, there are plenty of talented and beautiful girls out there. I've been receiving anti-fraud education from my parents since I was a child. After a long pause, the boss finally told the truth. A film crew said they want you to try out for a role. It's not a big part, but they said your looks fit the character perfectly. The boss gave me the crew's information. It was a major IP, with A-list actors in the lead roles. How could such a good opportunity ever fall to me? Boss, how would I know? The director said they saw your performance in the variety show and thought you were a good fit, but I don't know how to act. I'll hire an acting coach for you right away. I'm sure you can do it. The boss may not be good at many things, but he's a master at making empty promises. I ended up being won over by this offer after all, thinking I'd just muddle through for a couple of years, and if it really didn't work out, I could always just go back to the village. Oh, by the way, boss, there's one more thing. Boss looks puzzled. Could you write me a letter of internship verification? This is important. Acting class is actually quite interesting. The acting teacher praised me for having talent, though I'm not sure if I really performed well. But later, I recorded an audition video and sent it over, and just like that, I got accepted. A bit hasty, so smooth that I feel like I'm some kind of chosen one, the acting teacher said. Being a professional doesn't guarantee you can make it as an actor. Looks and talent are nothing compared to that one in 10,000 stroke of luck. Feeding on the empty promises of my boss and teacher, I just went ahead and joined the crew. The role I play in this drama is just a minor one, not even worthy of being called the third or fourth female lead, but I have scenes with both the male and female leads. The boss assigned me an assistant, older than me, who arranges everything meticulously and thoughtfully. The makeup artist spent over an hour doing my makeup. Since it's a period drama, the makeup and styling are more intricate. By the time it was done, my head was adorned with accessories. The girl in the mirror, dressed in ancient attire, looked dignified and graceful, yet when she smiled, there was an added touch of liveliness. The filming location already had other actors who had finished their makeup waiting on set. When I arrived, the director stared at me for a long moment before murmuring, "Yes, this is exactly the feeling." He turned and smiled in a certain direction, saying, "Shuriwei, you really have an eye for talent." I looked confusedly toward Pei Shuriwei on the other side. I knew he was the male lead, but aside from having participated in the same variety show, we should have had no connection at all. It was just a brief greeting during the recording of the variety show. Could he even remember who I was? As I looked over, Pei Shuriwei was also glancing in my direction from the director. I learned that it was Pei Shiriwe who had recommended me to him. No wonder this role fell to a newcomer like me. I walked over and smiled at Pei Shiriwe. Mr. Pei, I heard it was you who recommended me to the director. Thank you so much. Pei Shiriwe's gaze seemed to linger on my face for a moment before he said, take a seat first. We'll be shooting the first scene soon. Since it's your first time acting, let's rehearse together first. In the drama, I play the role of a princess, who is also the male lead's younger sister. In the story, the siblings grow up together and share a close bond. But with the nation plagued by internal strife and external threats, the princess is eventually forced into a political marriage to secure peace. Reluctantly, the male lead sends his sister away, promising to bring her back one day. He never forgets this vow, and when the country finally stabilizes somewhat, he proposes to bring the princess home. However, his father, the emperor, and the entire court see her only as a pretext for war, wishing to use her death as a cause to launch an attack. The princess dies on her journey back to the homeland, killed by her own people. The death of the princess was the pivotal plot that truly severed the bond between the male lead and his royal father, thus becoming a person who lives on only in memories. Pei Shiriwe was not only a senior actor to perform alongside but also a very dedicated teacher. Your gaze here is too fierce, soften it a bit. I'm your brother, not some lecherous scoundrel, and when you push me later, use more force. Don't let the audience see that we siblings aren't close. He kept calling us brother and sister, and it seemed like I was getting quite the bargain. Pei Shiriwe's popularity was undeniable. After spending a few days on set, my acting went from being frequently cut to passing in just 2 or 3 takes. It felt like an entire century had passed. The acting profession really isn't that easy to get into. On the day I wrapped up filming and left the set, Pei Shiriwe handed me a business card. He said, this director's crew is hiring. You can go and audition for a role. Recently, the dating show I filmed earlier started airing during the recording. The last 2 days weren't broadcast live, meaning viewers have no idea what happened to the couple in the end, leaving them in suspense. I've read through all the updates while squatting, especially the part about the observers' evaluations. Among the 4 observers, perhaps only Pei Shiriwe's romantic history is relatively blank. Maybe he has none, or perhaps it's just unknown. This is his first time participating in a dating show, and he has made a deep impression with his sharp tongue. When people were shipping me and Su Yuanheng, he said, this pair is clearly just kids playing house, fooling around. When people were shipping Su Chutong and Su Zian, he remarked, what kind of feelings can cooking together possibly develop? Would you ever fall for your own colleague? Even with Su Chutong and Zhao Qi, the hottest CP, he chimed in. Something's off. His companion couldn't stand it anymore and asked, sure you, is there not a single pair you approve of? With 8 people on this show, can't even one couple be matched up? After a long while, Pei Shiriwe was heard saying, if nothing goes wrong, they should make a good match. When others asked him which couple he was referring to, Pei Shiriwe added, hard to say. This statement was originally nothing out of the ordinary. However, some time later, when the news about Zhuang Ling and Jiang Xiuan's relationship hit the trending searches, Pei Shiriwe's words became worth pondering. Netizens, ever the gossipers, flooded his comments asking if he had been referring to this couple all along. Pei Shiriwe did not answer, nor did he deny it. As for Su Chutong and Zhao Qi, the couple that netizens found captivating due to their contrasting personas, they continued to be wildly popular. This was because Su Chutong joined Zhao Qi's company shortly after finishing the variety show. But as far as I know, in that 8-person group chat, Su Chutong explained that their couple dynamic also had some deliberate elements. During filming, Zhao Qi had already extended an olive branch to Su Chutong now that the show is airing, and with news that the two are now in the same company, it suggests they still have connections. The blind date story extending into an office romance is bound to have netizens obsessing over it, which will bring immense attention to Zhao Qi's company and also land Su Chutong a new job with a 30% salary increase. As it turns out, capitalists have an endless array of tricks up their sleeves. Not only Zhao Qi's company, but also Zhuang Ling's company and Su Zian's law firm benefited from this. Of course, I also landed a promising job. Otherwise, would I really be looking for a partner in a dating show? As for the business card Pei Shiriwe gave me, I later called the director he recommended. As soon as the director heard it was Pei Shiriwe's referral, he asked for my resume and quickly arranged an audition. On the day of the audition, I was taken aback to see Pei Shiriwe sitting in front, who should have been filming elsewhere. I was auditioning for the role of the third female lead, competing against many familiar faces, including several moderately well-known actresses. I later found out that although Pei Shiriwe wasn't starring in this drama, he was one of the investors. Even if I didn't end up getting the role, it was only right for me to thank him. After all, we weren't related in any way. After the interview, I waited outside for a while, watching the actors come and go inside. Finally, I saw Pei Shiriwe come out, accompanied by the producer. "Shiriwe, this film will be shot in Wuchang. Aren't you from Wuchang? Why not go take a look when the time comes?" Wuchang. Hearing my hometown mentioned so abruptly, I was momentarily stunned. After they parted ways, I stepped forward. "Teacher Pei, why haven't you left yet? I wanted to thank you in person for giving me this opportunity." Pei Shiriwe chuckled lightly. "I only asked you to come for an audition. I didn't say the role is definitely yours. I know, but I still want to thank you." I smiled at him. "And I just heard that you're also from Wuchang." For some reason, after I asked this, Pei Shiriwe fell silent for a moment. After a while, he gave a soft then we're fellow townspeople. I don't know if it's my imagination, but I think I saw Pei Shiriwe wearing an expression that seemed to say, "I'm disappointed in you for not living up to your potential. Where are you going? I can drive you there." Pei Shiriwe said. I hadn't expected this and quickly declined. "No need, Teacher Pei, I'm going back to school, and taking the subway is very fast." Pei Shiriwe, "It's almost rush hour. That stretch of the subway must be packed with people." That is indeed true. Pei Shiriwe didn't seem to be just being polite. He genuinely intended to give me a ride. After a moment's thought, I didn't refuse again. Pei Shiriwe is an artist with a very good reputation, at least with no tabloid scandals to his name. Considering the occasional caring demeanor he shows toward juniors, I still got into his car. A relatively low-key black Porsche. Music was playing in the car, and I occasionally glanced over at Pei Shiriwe. His face still held considerable authority in the domestic entertainment industry, and I was even a little worried that paparazzi might be lurking nearby to snap photos of him. So, I very considerately put on my mask and hat. Pei Shiriwe looked puzzled, afraid of being linked to me in a scandal. I looked at him with just my eyes showing. "Teacher Pei, I just don't want to cause you any trouble." Pei Shiriwe fell silent, but seemed to smile faintly. I had forgotten one scenario. During the evening rush hour, the subway is crowded, but the roads above ground are no less packed with cars. We were stuck in traffic. This meant I would be spending more time alone with Pei Shiriwe in the car. I turned to look at Pei Shiriwe. His gaze was fixed ahead, his profile still strikingly handsome. The light of the setting sun spilled down, casting shifting shadows and highlights precisely where he sat. The curve of his brow, the bridge of his nose, and the line of his jaw, all were just right. He was very good-looking. "Professor Pei, do you always mentor newcomers like this?" I asked, daring to be bold. I'm not sure about his personality, but Pei Shiriwe has indeed taken good care of me. Just when I thought he would say something polite, Pei Shiriwe said, "No," and then there was no follow-up. The road ahead cleared, and the car started moving. I opened my mouth to say something but closed it again when the car stopped at the school gate. Just as I was about to thank him and get out, Pei Shiriwe took out his phone. "Song Zi, let's exchange contact information. You can reach out to me if you need anything in the future." Still feeling a bit bewildered, I exchanged contact details with this top-tier actor, but that was all it was, just having each other's contact information. Pei Shiriwe never reached out to me, and I didn't disturb him either. It was like a simple expansion of the friend list. Returning to school was mainly for the graduation defense. I had previously sent the first draft to my advisor, who gave a lot of feedback. I then shared these comments with the two unofficial advisors in the group chat, but they weren't entirely convinced. When I mentioned the defense, Zhuang Ling replied, "When is it? Can outsiders enter your school? I'd like to sit in and listen." My classmates already knew that my thesis had been guided by an expert, and if she came, she would be surrounded by her fans. Fortunately, Zhuang Ling eventually gave up on the idea. Who could understand the feeling of returning to campus and having classmates frantically asking, "Are Zhuang Ling and Jiang Xiuan really together? And are Su Chutong and Zhao Qi really together?" No one seemed to care whether Su Yuanheng and I were really together, my roommate bluntly commented. "You two are just a perfect match as partners." The defense went smoothly, and my graduation thesis was even rated as an outstanding paper. I truly deserved it. The audition for the third female lead didn't go through, but the fourth female lead did. The screen time is actually about the same, but it doesn't matter. Having a role to play is already great. The boss called, sounding very pleased. "Zi, when did you get to know Pei Shiriwei? His agent said that next year, Pei Shiriwei has a drama with a few supporting roles, and they want you to pick one. I've looked over the script, and these roles all have decent screen time. I've sent them to your email, so take a good look, the boss said with a tone full of enthusiasm. I'll arrange a manager for you in a few days, or would you prefer me to be your manager personally? The latter part of his sentence carried a strangely expectant feeling. No need, boss, you should focus on bigger things. Just assign someone else to me. I finally realized where that sense of a slapdash operation came from. It was the boss. Everyone else seemed quite professional. I had always planned to go straight into the workforce after graduation, but I never expected to end up as a minor celebrity after finishing school, with a decent following on Weibo in just a few short months. It feels like a lifetime has passed. I still attend acting classes as usual. My acting skills aren't quite up to par for the domestic entertainment industry yet, so I need to keep improving, but I still can't figure out why Pei Shiriwei gives me such preferential treatment this time. I'll be on set for 2 months. By the time we wrap up, I feel like I've been through a real trial. I took it easy for a while, even went home for the new year. My mom was heartbroken, saying I'd lost weight, so the family slaughtered a sheep to help me recover. I gained weight over the new year, so I'll have to slim down again before heading back to the set. This time, I joined Pei Shiriwei's film crew, where he served not only as the lead actor but also as the director. My role was quite substantial, yet I was harshly criticized due to my acting skills. Pei Shiriwei never raised his voice, but his relentless focus on minute details left everyone in the crew feeling tormented by the work. One day, the female lead was suffering from menstrual cramps and had over 20 consecutive NG takes. Pei Shiriwei noticed she wasn't in the right state and gave her a day off. The female lead and I had built a bit of a camaraderie through our shared struggles. I accompanied her back to the hotel, and once there, she finally couldn't hold back her tears. With Pei Shiriwei's such a picky personality, how on earth do you put up with him? I was puzzled. Isn't that just how we working folks are? I'm asking how you can stand dating him. Where on earth did this huge misunderstanding come from? Seeing my denial, the female lead was puzzled. Apart from you, all the other actors were selected through auditions. The assistant director mentioned earlier that your popularity was a bit lacking, and that there were more famous actresses interested in your role. It was Pei Shiriwei who vouched for you, and only then did the investors back down. If you're not a couple, are you relatives? Maybe because we're from the same hometown. I said this with a hint of uncertainty in my own voice. Later, because I endured no less hardship than she did during filming, the female lead finally believed that my relationship with Pei Shiriwei was purely innocent. The more we interacted, the more familiar my relationship with Pei Shiriwei became. Setting aside his strictness towards creative work, he was a genuinely good person. On the day the filming wrapped up, I happily packed my luggage and prepared to book a flight home. Pei Shiriwei called out to me, I'm planning to return to Wuchang for a while too, let's go together. In society, there's always a bit of human connection and social savvy involved. Pei Shiriwei isn't just a celebrity, he's also a valuable contact. I had no reason to refuse. It was just on the way. After all, on the way back, I started by looking at the scenery outside the window, but later, as I grew tired, my head probably found a random spot to rest. We're here. Someone shook me awake. Opening my eyes, I saw Pei Shiriwei's deep, captivating eyes hidden beneath the brim of his hat. Dazed for a moment, I stared for several seconds before instinctively saying, your eyes are so beautiful. It was a genuine, spontaneous compliment, but the moment the words left my mouth, I realized something was off. Had I been leaning on his shoulder, the person in front seemed to chuckle softly beneath their mask. Wake up, we're here. I had thought we'd go our separate ways after getting off the plane, but Pei Shiriwei had a driver pick us up and insisted on taking me back to the village. Brother Pei, I can go back on my own. You really don't need to send me. After getting familiar, I started calling him Brother Pei like everyone else. It's fine, it's on the way. I still didn't believe his claim that it was on his way, but Pei Shiriwei insisted on giving me a ride. My longing for home was too strong, so I ended up getting into his car. When we arrived at my doorstep, I grabbed my suitcase and cheerfully bid farewell to Pei Shiriwei. Brother Pei, I'm home. Let me know your address another day, and I'll visit you. Thanks for today. With that, I turned and ran towards my house, completely unaware of which direction the car behind me had driven off in. Returning home to eat, wash up, and sleep brought a sense of peaceful isolation from the world. The next morning, my mother asked, do you remember Moon Brother from our childhood neighbors? What about him? He came back last night too. I saw a car parked in his yard this morning, so I knew he was back. I raised an eyebrow. What a coincidence, after breakfast, come with me too. Say hello, after all, you're in the same line of work, you two will have something to talk about. Alright, just stepping out the door, my mom started reminiscing about childhood antics. And you were the one who gave him his nickname, you know. Really, you don't remember, my mom said with a laugh. His name had a character that sounded like Moon. Back then you were still illiterate, so you just called him Big Brother Moon. Even after being corrected a few times, you still couldn't get it right, so the kid just gave up. Illiterate. My mom has quite the sense of humor. Wait, you, as in the moon, why do I have this vague sense of foreboding? But this feeling came far too late. The doorbell was pressed by my mom, and a tall figure slowly emerged from inside, smiling when he saw my mom. Aunt Xia, long time no see, and Moonlight brother. Yes, it's me. Pei Shiriwa smiled at me, his eyes crinkling, even carrying a hint of teasing. It felt like a thunderclap from the horizon, striking right beside my ear. Absurd. My mother enthusiastically introduced my current profession to others. She doesn't often follow online celebrities, so she didn't know that Pei Shiriwa and I were acquainted. Aunt Xia, Z, and I know each other. We collaborated not long ago, Pei Shiriwa said. After praising someone else's son, my mother left me as a guest at their house. After pouring me a cup of tea, Pei Shiriwa also sat down opposite me. Why aren't you saying anything? I stared at him for a long moment before finally asking, when exactly did you recognize me? I shouldn't look anything like I did as a kid, right? There's a world of difference between a bratty little kid and a vibrant, beautiful woman in her early 20s. Okay, I recognized you when you were on that dating show and I was an observer, Pei Shiriwa said quietly. As a kid, you loved blowing up cow dung with the boys and got caught by the neighbor's brother, who made you wash your hands and feet. Your name is Song Zi, from Wuching. I only know one person like that. Is there really no second Song Zi who meets the criteria here? So, the reason you later introduced me to film crews and even had me act in your productions was all because of this. Pei Shiriwa might have misunderstood something, as he said, Z, your image is well suited for acting, and you have a natural talent for it. My willingness to help you simply means you've had good luck, and luck is part of one's ability. As soon as he finished speaking, I abruptly stood up, patted my chest, and let out a huge sigh of relief. So that's why you helped me. I thought you liked me, scared me to death. I flashed him a smile. Sorry about that, Brother Pei, I misunderstood. You've gotten so much more handsome than before. I didn't recognize. No misunderstanding. The words caught me completely off guard. I helped you before because we knew each other as kids, but my feelings now are genuine. Do you mind if I pursue you? The air suddenly fell silent. I asked sincerely, when exactly did you start liking me? He just spent months tormenting me on set, and now he says he likes me. I realized it during the filming period. Huh, Pei Shiriwa smiled. You're beautiful, talented, hardworking, emotionally stable, and even quite inspiring. Is it really that strange for me to like you? Your personality is adorable too. No way. He praised me so sincerely that I felt a bit embarrassed. No need to rush to reply. You have plenty of time to think it over. I just wanted to tell you my thoughts so you know. Pursuing you is something I need to worry about. I practically fled in a panic. I didn't dare to go next door for the whole day. Standing on the balcony at home and looking next door, I could see Pei Shiriwa, this big celebrity, cleaning in his own yard without any airs. My mom said he probably hadn't been back to this house since his grandfather passed away, not to mention those broad shoulders, narrow waist, and perky butt. Even from above, they look quite impressive. Once I accepted this premise, my mind was filled with nothing but impure thoughts. Both male and female allure can lead one astray, but that doesn't mean we're a good match. After much deliberation, I stayed up late into the night, drafting a lengthy message to the editor to politely decline. This man is truly beautiful. After sending it, my heart twinged a bit, a little painful, but the entertainment industry is a realm only single people can wholeheartedly venture into. However, upon waking up, my mom came upstairs and said, Sweetie, get up, young Pei says he has something important to discuss with you. I scrambled up and saw Pei Shiriwa sitting upright downstairs, chatting with my dad. Great. My dad used his treasured tea leaves to entertain Pei Shiriwa. Walking outside to a secluded spot, Pei Shiriwa said, Z, I read all the messages you sent. I've said before, you don't need to feel pressured. It's fine if you refuse, but if you ever need help in the future, you can still come to me. A man's charisma manifests in every aspect. 4. Instance, right now I don't know why, but I still feel like cracking a joke at a time like this having rejected Pei Shiriwei. This incident could probably be included in a resume. However, just as Pei Shiriwei had promised, he did not come to disturb my life. At the age of 24, the TV dramas I had acted in were gradually released, and the name soothe began to be known, with works to my name. The company I was with also started investing resources in me, and that year, I was able to land the lead role in a low-budget web series. After becoming an artist, some social engagements were unavoidable. At the social gathering table, you find all sorts of people. A rich second-generation heir, looking to have some fun with a minor celebrity, took a liking to me. Seizing the moment when I had a few too many drinks, he came over, putting an arm around my shoulder and waist. Just as we were in an empty hallway, I swiftly grabbed his hand, twisted it back, and drove my knee upward. The rich heir winced in pain. I was about to leave when I heard movement from above. Looking up, I met a pair of pitch-black eyes. Pei Shiriwei helped me walk out, saying, "Usually when you encounter drinking situations like this, you can prepare some hangover medicine or simply refuse to drink. How did you handle it before?" I turned to look at him. Pei Shiriwei chuckled lightly. "I drank just like you, but now no one forces me to drink anymore." "Well, I haven't reached your status yet, you could have it too, Z," he said. He helped me into the car, and I couldn't help but smile. "You still like me, don't you?" "Yes," Pei Shiriwei admitted as he fastened my seatbelt. In the dim light, his face even had an indescribable hint of sexiness. I said, "But there are so many beautiful girls in the entertainment industry, haven't you liked any of them?" This question made Pei Shiriwei ponder for a long moment before he replied, "Z, liking someone is a very personal emotion. For me, it's something that's hard to transfer. If you're so curious about this, could you first tell me what it is you don't like about me?" I stared at him for a long while before finally saying, "I just feel it's not suitable." "You should, just because you think it's not suitable." Pei Shiriwei was stunned for a moment, then immediately pressed further. "Then do you like me under the influence of alcohol?" I couldn't be too insincere. "A little," Pei Shiriwei smiled. A confident smile spread across his face, reminiscent of when he played a villainous role. He lowered his head and kissed the back of my hand. The skin there felt as if it had been scalded, and I tried to pull away, but he held on tight, refusing to let go. "Soothe," he said earnestly, "unsuitable and not liking someone are two different things. If you admit you like me, I'll keep pursuing you." His lips parted slightly, looking as if they'd be pleasant to kiss. After a moment, he also noticed my gaze, paused briefly, and the corners of his mouth lifted. "Want to kiss me?" I remained silent. Pei Shiriwei continued, "You can." This wildly popular male celebrity was quite generous, letting me kiss him on the lips, which were as soft as I had imagined. I blacked out briefly. The next day, when I woke up in his home, I was a bit disoriented. Unfamiliar furnishings. I walked out to the living room and saw Pei Shiriwei bustling around the kitchen, wearing an apron. This look gave off a strong husbandly vibe. Awake, Pei Shiriwei reminded me, "Do you remember what you said to me last night?" Memories flooded back. A wet, lingering kiss in the car last night had stripped away both our senses, and I agreed to be with Pei Shiriwei just like that. I agreed, all for the chance to kiss him again later. On the sofa in his living room, I pinned him down, and kissed him for a long, long time. That tingling sensation surged through me once more, making me feel a bit dizzy, and I couldn't help but lift my gaze to his lips. "I really love kissing, admit it." Pei Shiriwei stepped closer to look at me. "Girlfriend, or do you think I took advantage of the situation?" I fell silent. "Last night seemed more like I took advantage of the situation, admit it." Pei Shiriwei nodded. "Alright, I've squeezed the toothpaste for you, go wash up." Getting into a relationship felt a bit sudden, and I hadn't quite adjusted yet. After finishing my wash, Pei Shiriwei asked me what I was lost in thought about. "It feels a bit unreal," I said honestly. "Unreal, you say?" He suddenly leaned in and kissed me without warning. The moist kiss came, and the memories from last night replayed even more vividly, only this time the roles were reversed. The embrace was real, and so was the kiss. I responded awkwardly, quickly catching up to the rhythm, but my breathing remained hurried. "Feeling real now?" Pei Shiriwei asked. I nodded under his gaze. Then, Pei Shiriwei reached over and fastened the buttons that had come undone in the chaos. His movements were deliberate and unhurried, yet I felt an inexplicable sense of intimacy and torment. This romance began without any warning. Soon after, I joined the crew, and during that time, I came across an interview with Pei Shiriwei. When asked about his personal relationship status, he answered for the first time, "Yes, I like her very much." It has to be her, netizens sharply commented. An older man can't wait to announce to the world that he's off the market. Meanwhile, fans tearfully offered their blessings. At the age of 25, a small web series I starred in unexpectedly went viral, bringing me a surge of popularity and more scripts landing on my desk. It was also at the end of this year that I was photographed returning to my hometown with Pei Shiriwe to meet the parents. I had finally managed to invite friends from the dating show I once participated in to visit my village. After they arrived, for some reason, they stood there stunned for a long time. This single-family villa with just the interior space measuring several hundred square meters is what you call your old family home. Those few farms over there, and the sheep and cattle on the hilltops, are those what you used to call raising cows and herding sheep? The neighbor's little brother with OCD and a cleanliness obsession is Pei Shiriwe, and he's your current partner. And in your village, does everyone have their own single-family villa? So what? Do they have different expectations for the countryside compared to my family? That dating show has already reached its fourth season. In the first season, there was a couple, Zhuang Ling and Jiang Xiuan, who didn't quite align with the show's core values. The director refused to believe it was a fluke, but then the second season produced another male-male couple, and the third season ended up with no couples at all. Netizens are all just watching for the laughs because the popularity was decent. It managed to hold on until the fourth season. The director is also stubborn, still insisting on having no script. After my relationship with Pei Shiriwe was exposed, the director even forgot about the identities we had when we first joined the show and excitedly declared, "Our show has a heterosexual couple." After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.